Pepper boo, pepper boo.
Pepperino,
Oh.
Pepperino the Dino. Anything else you got to say before we start?
Pepper doodles.
Anything?
Pepperooski.
No, you ain't never got too much to say.
Not
Going to
that.
sleep. Hello, my loves. Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts, and welcome back. And I don't even have to introduce this lady next to me, but for those of you who do not know, I am very grateful to have my Mama Gwen right back here on my big orange couch. Welcome back.
Hey, girl, hey.
Good to see you.
Hey.
This is, in fact, my mom. She's not my sister. I know y'all think she is. I don't have any sisters. I don't have no sisters, but this is the closest to the sister that I've had. I mean, she's the woman that I grew up in the house with, so she basically my sister. By popular demand, I brought mom back, y'all. Every single time I uploaded a video, when is Mama Gwen coming back? Are you gonna bring Mama Gwen? When we gonna see her? When she gonna start her own channel? You know, people were asking.
I know.
I asked my friends over on YouTube and within my Yarn Hive membership to drop questions for mom.
Yes.
So I have a nice little stack of questions. I have not let her see them.
Yep.
So it's all a mystery. So we're just going to hang and chit chat. We're working on our project. So you go ahead and grab your project.
Please.
Grab you something to drink. Please stay hydrated. And just tuck in and have a nice little afternoon with us.
Yeah.
All right, now before we jump in, of course we have to give some love to our Cup of Caffeine sponsor.
Yeah.
Now, Mom and I have already had our coffee for the afternoon, so we have switched to water. But we're still going to give a lot of love to our sponsor, who is Joyce Disbro. Now, when donating, Joyce said, "It was a treat to be part of your class today. I came away with helpful pointers and the confidence to complete the pattern. You and Gwen are so personable. It felt like I have always known you. Looking forward to when you come to Lawrence, Kansas again." So Mom and I got a chance to visit the Yarn Barn in Lawrence, Kansas. If you ever find yourself out there, you have to go.
Please.
This place is phenomenal.
It was amazing.
Great for knitters and crocheters, but they also do a lot of weaving there too. And a lot of that yarn that you use for weaving, you can use for knit and crochet.
And machine knit.
And machine knitting too.
Oh my goodness. That's a whole nother other.
So thank you so much to Joyce for that donation. We really appreciate it. And thank you for coming out for the class. We've been treated like really, really well.
Yes.
Just
this has been a great season.
It was a great season.
For travel.
When I tell her, hey, we're going to a yarn store in Kansas, she's like, yarn store, let's go.
Squirrel.
It's an easy sell. It's an easy sell. So thank you so much, Joyce, for your donation. And if you like my channel and want to support what I do here, buy me a coffee. Who knows? I might shout you out in the next one. All right, you ready for these questions?
I am ready.
Here we go. Okay, so to kick things off, I mean, it makes complete sense. We got a question about your crochet origin story. So we would love for you to take it all the way back.
Okay.
Take it backity back and tell us how you learned to crochet.
We're going to go back in the time.
Back in the time.
When I was growing up, we would go to church, and we would go to church, and church was late in the evening, and my aunt would come back to the house, and her and my mother would be talking. We're not going to say gossiping. You know they was gossiping, especially 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So we would get back home, and they would be drinking coffee and having pound cake. I'm an only child, so I'm sitting there because that's what I always did when my family was talking. I'm quiet. So nobody was paying attention to me, and I would just be sitting there listening to everything. So my aunt kind of looked up, and she was like, "Girl, what you doing in here?" I was like, "This is my house." So she said, "I'm going to give you something to do tomorrow." So, of course, we was having a revival. Y'all might want to know what those are. Got back the next day. She pulled out some yarn and a crochet hook. She said, "I'm going to teach you how to crochet." She made the little magic loop. Now I know what it was. I say the little circle. She showed me how to crochet. She showed me how to chain, single crochet, double crochet. That was it. And she started me off with like a 15 chain. And she said, "Okay, just keep going." When she came back, I had her half a scarf made the next night. She said, "Oh, you know how to crochet?" She had 2 sticks. And she was like, "I'm going to teach you how to knit." And she showed me how to knit. And I am where I am today.
So has knit and crochet kind of always been part of your life, or did you kind of pick it up then, put it down, come back to it? How involved have you been in knit and crochet over the years?
When I left, after I left home, I went into the military, had my family. I made a few things for the kids that I didn't even remember I made things for my kids until after my mother told me, yeah, and showed me pictures and things. And I'm like, wait a minute, I made that. But when I went in the military, I kind of put it down a little bit. But my husband and I, we were in Germany. And we were walking in Würzburg.
Würzburg?
And yes, goodness.
Is it a store or?
No, that's a city
in
Germany. Würzburg is a city in Germany. I was walking past and I saw yarn. And I was like, they have stores that just sell yarn? And I lost it. I'd never seen a yarn store before. I went in the store. I spent $50. That was a lot of money at the time.
Yeah.
I came home with like 2 big giant shopping bags full of yarn.
I can't imagine.
I started,
of like lovely German yarn in the 90s.
Oh my God, and it was all wool and it was all just beautiful. I started a blanket that I just finished last year.
For real?
Mm-hmm. I actually still have it at the house.
Girl.
I'll show it to you guys
How you
day.
kept that from the moths, I will never understand.
I've never, thank God, gotten moths in any of my yarn.
That's wonderful.
But that's a whole nother story. Then I got back into it. I started making things. I started making things like, you wouldn't think that I'd be in Germany and be able to sell knitting and crocheting to people. But I started doing it again. And even until this day, though I'm retired, I still like to make, and I can't keep everything that I make.
Can't keep everything.
So a lot of times you'll see me making something, and it'll be for sale. I have a friend, and she has a boutique, and she sells my wares for me.
Yeah, I love it. Very cool. Well, speaking of making, what are you making?
I am making a top. I am knitting a top.
Okay, so top down?
Top down.
Lovely. And is this ribbon?
Ribbon.
Ooh.
This was a lovely yarn that Lion Brand no longer carries.
Boo-hoo.
It's called Ribbonier, and it was one of their most amazing yarns.
It's really pretty.
It is beautiful. So I have a skirt, and I was like, I have that yarn color downstairs. I went through my yarn Rolodex. Oh, it's the summertime, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go get this ribbon yarn that I've made 3 things out of this. But I was like, this is what it should be. Yeah. When I say I let the yarn speak to me, I do take things out and reuse the yarn until it speaks the proper language.
Makes sense,
and
yeah. There's a time and a place for every yarn.
Yes.
I think that's why we have stashes, because you just never know when the moment is going to come to use that particular yarn.
And then I can go shopping in my stash. Not that I won't shop in your store, but wherever I can get it from, or her closet. That's a good shop. What are you working on?
So I am making a scarf. I have an event that's going to be coming up in a few months called Crochet Academy. If you've not participated before, it's my Learn to Crochet event. And now that we're in the spring and you have to think a couple seasons ahead, Crochet Academy is going to be coming up in the fall. And this will be one of the pieces for the crochet along that we do.
Look at that color.
Yeah, the yarn is beautiful. So I am using a new to me yarn. This one is also from Lion Brand, and it is called Mandala String. So I have the label here, but I have the yarn. It originally came in a skein, but I had to cake it up because as lovely as this yarn is, she's a little temperamental.
Yeah.
She's whatever politically correct words you want to say for
she
it
gonna fall apart,
and it's gonna get knotted, and it's like a whole thing.
Beautiful.
It's a really lovely yarn. So it's all acrylic, but it works up almost like a mercerized cotton.
Yes.
It feels really, really nice.
Yes.
I love the feel of it.
Yes.
These colors are great. And it's also a fingering weight yarn, which you don't see much from the big box, from the larger brands like Lion Brand.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to give it a go. And I think it'll be great for beginners to practice using fingering weight yarn, using color changing yarn, because I know color is just, it's a challenge for some folks.
Yes.
So this takes some of the guesswork out of it.
Yes, it does. I actually made a duster out of the yarn. Before.
Did you use this color too, or a different color?
Same exact
Same
color.
one?
Same color. That's why when you got the yarn and I saw the color, I was laughing. I was like, we
have one brain.
One brain.
We share the one brain.
One brain.
So that's what I'm working on.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so this is a question that came up a lot.
Okay.
What is a project that you can make over and over and over again? What's like your go-to, got no other ideas, and you're like, I'm going to make this?
Top-down sweater.
Yeah.
They are my favorite. They are mindless to me, like the socks. And when I make them, and I make my own clothes, I feel really accomplished. Yeah. It'll be an idea that I have, and I'll go shopping looking for it. I'm like sore going through stores looking for it. Yeah. I won't be able to find it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna make that. I might stop at a yarn store and go find a inspiration yarn or something like that, and I'm like, oh, I have 6 other yarns that could go with this. Let me go in my stash real quick. That's why I say you should have a little stash. You may not have a big one, but that's up to you. If you have a big one, more power to you. And if you don't, so be it. You know, everybody has to go with what they can afford. And I always say that, and don't go into any hardship over string.
Of course, of course. That's my philosophy on it too. Like use as nice of a yarn as you can afford. Because that's often what it comes down to. We all have our preferences about like how we want the yarn to be or whatever. Once you've decided all those things, get as nice of a yarn as you can afford. Because once you're done making the thing, especially if you're keeping it for yourself, you want to love it forever. Right? So, I mean, if you're using, you know, a cheap crappy yarn, you might finish the thing and you've gotten over the joy of having made it, and now you're like, nah. You know, and we don't want that to happen.
It's happened to me before. I'll know as soon as I finish it. It happens to everyone. I don't just love everything that I decide to create. Sometimes I take things out.
Yeah. What brings you to that decision? Like when you're done making something, what might contribute to you deciding to like rip it out or give it away?
I'll get halfway through and be like, wait a minute. I saw this sweater. It had a yarn like this. I could use a blue to go with this purple instead of all purple or whatever. Let me take this out and redo it. So that's kind of where I'm always at with it.
Kind of have to do those temperature checks throughout the project. Be like, am I really enjoying how this is working up? So do you ever feel a way, like after having put in all that work, that you're like, now I gotta rip this out, I don't love it, like,
no,
it doesn't bother you?
I'm gonna be doing it anyway.
So
that's never really, you know, like somebody will always do, oh, you always have yarn in your hand. Yup. So I don't kill nobody. You want me to
like,
keep
you
that
don't
yarn.
want to know the alternative.
Right.
If I
you
didn't
want
have this
that yarn
in
in my hand. You want it.
So this is a fun one that somebody submitted. Who has a better stash, Tony or Mom? Here's the deal. Y'all have seen my stash. My stash philosophy is I kind of set a boundary for where my stash exists. And once it gets to a certain size, I begin to purge. And I only like to keep yarns that I'm absolutely 100% truly in love with. Another thing that I do to kind of build up my stash at this point is focus a lot on like souvenir yarns. We travel a lot for this yarny stuff. So I like to always bring something back. So that has a lot to do with how I maintain my stash. But since I do this for work, I'll get yarns that I need for work, I'll use them, and then they're gone. And then my stash is just like souvenirs and stuff that I absolutely love. So my stash, I mean, if I had to count, I might have maybe like 200 skeins, maybe, in my stash, which feels like a lot when you say it out loud. But when you look at it, it's not nearly that much. It's not that much.
Now, I, on the other hand, have been collecting yarn for lots of years.
Have you always had a stash?
A small one.
A small one, yeah.
Even when I forgot I had a stash, I'm like, one day I opened up a plastic bin and I was like, oh, that's where I found a blanket. I was like, German yarn. Oh, now she said 200. I have a cabinet.
She has a cabinet with probably about 200 skeins in it.
No, it probably has about 400 skeins.
Oh my gosh, not even close.
There's some of the names, the companies aren't even in business anymore.
Sure, yeah.
That I have. My stash is so extensive. What I really love about my stash, though, is people will come over, my friends will come over, people who want to learn. When I gift yarn, I gift good yarn. Unless you ask me for acrylic. If you ask me for acrylic, I'll give you what you ask for. But if you ask me for some yarn and you come over to my house and I think you are yarn gifting worthy, I will bless you. I have a friend, she makes the most delicious cakes.
Oh, yes.
She dropped off some cake. Right. Kimmy cake. She dropped off the cake. And she was saying she needed some like cream something yarn. I went downstairs. I got the yarn that she needed.
Because of course she has it.
Yes. And it was the exact color she needed and everything. And she thanked me. And then I took the label off the yarn because I was about to use it. But then she came and I gave it to her. And then I realized after I gave it to her, I was like, oh, That was cashmere.
Oh, you gave away the cashmere?
I gave her some cashmere. She doesn't know. And she was like, thank you so much. I need it for this little thing. I didn't feel a way like I gave that to her. Oh my gosh, I spent all this money on this yarn that I gave. It was more like, wow, it was a blessing to be able to bless my friend with this yarn. Not all the yarn that I buy is for me. Sometimes it's for somebody else, and that makes me feel good.
I'll say there's even been times when I've needed a very particular type of yarn, and I'll go over to mom's and I'm kind of chit-chatting about, oh, I need to go to the store and find X, Y, Z. She's like, oh, you don't need to go to the store. I got that. I got that. That's always her favorite. I got that. I got that downstairs. Well, when it comes to who has the better stash, I think we both have great stashes because they fit who we are as yarning people.
Now, I love that.
Really, really good one. I was really excited to ask. What is a crochet piece that you are most proud of?
Y'all ready for this?
We're ready.
Every crochet piece that I finish, I am the most proud of. From the first piece I ever made, which was a hat and a scarf that I gave to my mother for Christmas that she still has, to the hat that I finished last night. Every part of everything that I stitch or make has a part of me in it. So that's what I'm most proud of. Everything that I've ever made. Whether I've ripped it out, because that's never a waste of time, because I've learned something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you learn what to do, and sometimes you learn what not to do.
Ain't
But
that
you
the truth?
always learn something. I'm still always learning. So.
Always, yeah. I think that's the way that we continue to grow in something like this, because, I mean, I've been at this for, what, almost 2 decades. You a bit longer, just a few years more than me.
Only twice as long.
Only twice.
Only twice.
But I mean, you do have to continue to learn new things, practice new techniques, try new projects,
practice
just
even
keep it fresh.
Old things that you've learned 20, 10, 20 years, however long ago.
Yeah, you got to stay fresh. You got to keep it fresh. Somebody asked, how often do we craft together?
As often as we can.
Yes, as often as possible.
So, yeah. I'm going to give the real quick, when she moved back home, 7 minutes away from me.
Really close.
I'm still just in awe that her and my son would want to live that close to me, and my little fur baby's doing the cutest fur baby things right now. To be able to say, Mom, come down, I just started this new show and I want you to bring a project. For my daughter to want me to be around when we travel together and we do all the things, and she grew up in my house and everything, that's just a blessing to me. We craft together as often as we can. Even when we're on our trips, we bring 2 or 3 projects so we can make sure that we're able to craft together. So
yeah, there's some people in your life that, like, it's such a low lift to spend time with them. And my mom is definitely one of those people. She see me as a baby. So, like, there's no secrets. There's nothing to hide there. So, like, if I woke up that morning, I didn't do my face and my hair is a mess and I still got on my pajamas, and she like, hey, Tony, I need X, Y, and Z. I'm about to come by. All right. I'm not about to change.
Right.
I'm not about to do nothing but put on my slippers so I can answer the door.
Right.
My mom and I were the only women in our house growing up.
Yes.
And with all the moving that we did and the changing schools and everything, there were only certain constants.
Yes.
And my mom was always a constant for me. I always felt that love and that support. So as I continued to grow up, you know, eventually when I took this full time, I mean, my mom was right behind me with the full support. My mom wanted me to go to college, get my degrees, and get a great job. So when I was like, yeah, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to quit my perfectly good job, and I'm going to do crochet full time.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there was no question. There was no resistance.
And then anything you need me to do, please let me know.
Always very supportive.
I would drive almost 4 hours one way to go and help her with shows or set up something. You can't tell somebody you can do anything and then you don't support them to do the anything.
Mom's always had my back. And so now that I'm grown, and, you know, things are clipping along with TL Yarn Crafts, like we've made it to the fun part.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to even now at this point be able to have her be part of all of this. Like It's a dream come true for me. A dream I didn't even know that I had. You know what I appreciate, though? I think there's a lot of similarities between us, but, I mean, you have a very unique personality that you bring to all of this. I mean, I love it. Sometimes in my head, my mom is like my anger interpreter. If anybody's seen that Key and Peele sketch, I am Obama and she is my anger interpreter. Like when we're out and about, I can often stand back. I don't have to hold the limelight. Mom is just a natural entertainer and people absolutely adore her. They just flock to you. It's a magnet and I love to see it. I love to see her in her element.
Yes.
Really enjoying herself too.
Getting hugs, telling people you can do it.
Yes.
Most of the time people just need a little teeny encouragement. You really think I can do it? I wouldn't have been here and told you if you couldn't. Just finish it. Just keep going. Moms are always moms and we're always protective and this is my baby and I'm not here for it. It's her, but I'm also going to be mindful that this is a business. It is being ran by a professional and I have to be professional when I'm here, but don't make me come for you.
Right. Because mama don't play about her babies.
I don't play about my baby. Oh, can I say something really quick? Where is it? Ooh,
what's up?
I done dropped
this right here?
Yeah, yes, give it to me.
Mom has a special announcement. She has something to share because many of you asked.
This is the glue.
This is the glue.
This is the glue that binds, ladies and gentlemen.
What's it called?
And whomever is here. Aileen's Original Fabric Fusion.
So
Mom
mentioned before that she doesn't really weave in her ends. She uses this glue to manage her ends.
Or after I weave, I do weave them in, but I weave them as I go. Something like this is soft. It's probably going to come out.
Probably.
Yeah. Nothing that you can do about something like that. So I will go in and very strategically maybe like end it under the arm or on the side or something like that. And then I will use the glue. I've not had a problem with it ever fraying or coming out once I've done that. I got this from Joann's, but I think they sell it.
Probably any fabric store.
Yeah.
So now y'all know all her deep, dark craft secrets.
Right.
So we were talking a bit about like your history, childhood, growing up, all that good stuff. The folks want to know, what was I like as a kid?
She was...
And you don't have to be nice just because I'm sitting here.
I'm not. You don't have to worry about that. She was the person she is now in little kid form. And all kids go through their little phases. So I wouldn't say she was perfect. But what she was is honest. If you asked her a question, kind of like her mom, she gonna tell you. Funny story, this is her. She's a daddy's girl. You think she loves me, but honey, when her daddy walks in, Daddy! She said the same way she did like when she was 4 or 5 years old. It's the same thing. I was having a day. Nobody at work did anything I wanted. Nobody at home did anything I wanted. Nobody in business did anything I wanted. It just was a crappy day all around. So I walked in the house and nobody did any of the chores I asked them to do. And I'm like, come on, people. I done went to work. I came home. I went to do this show. I made money. I came home. And y'all couldn't do, which was really simple. Baby, please cook the children some food. Children, please clean up after the food that you ate. And just don't have your rooms smelly. All things were on -0, not just 0.
It was that bad?
Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad that Dad didn't even say anything when I was going on. I was 12 crazy. I don't know if I left. I probably left because usually after I had a moment, I would go sit at the store and eat an ice cream or something. Then I come back and I'd literally be like the whole person I normally am. So her dad says to her, Tony, what we gonna do with her? And in her 7-year-old analytical mind, she says, well, Dad, we're just going to have to love her. And they've always done that, no matter how anxious I've ever become about anything ever, because when it comes down to them, I will get a little crazy. So in my husband and my family and friends and anything that I really care about, I will go from 0 to 10.
Yes. Mom loves fiercely.
Yeah.
And completely.
Yes.
Even if she's upset with you.
Yeah. Get over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you when I get you home. But right now, we're going to take care of this. My whole thing was always ever, don't get me out in the street.
Yeah.
It had me looking stupid.
Yep.
If you did it, say you did it, I'm going to get you out of this. I'm going to take care of this. But when we get home, we're having a conversation.
Right. Once that door closes.
And don't lie to me. There was only one time when she ever really like had a moment. Can I tell the story?
Please tell the story.
So she had a little friend, and she would go over to her little friend's house, and she came home one day. So she had a moment, and she wanted to do something, and I was like, you can't do that. It's too late. So I said, it's too late. We can go tomorrow. I'll take you. I'll get you whatever you want. And she wanted to go herself, and I was like, no, you can't do that. And she was like, well, I hate you. And I was like, well, I don't like your ass that much either. So you could go to your room now, and you're not going tomorrow. And that's how we dealt with that. Come on, dude. I done gave you everything.
Yeah.
She was a good kid. I didn't have issues. And when I asked her to go to college, she went to college. And then I asked her to get her master's.
I got my master's.
She got her master's, and that worked.
When they told me to marry my boyfriend before I moved to Ohio, I married my boyfriend before I moved to Ohio.
Don't be living in sin.
What I have always taken with me as I've grown up is I've always believed that you guys had my best interest in heart. I never believed that you guys said no because you just wanted to be mean or you wanted to keep things from me. So when my parents would give me advice for things, I was like, okay, I would just really consider it. Like I had my own mind. Of course, they gave me the space to make my own decisions, to bump my head sometimes and make mistakes. I always trusted that they did have my back though. So I never felt like, oh, you just don't want me to be happy or you don't want me to do what I want to do. And it often came that when I wouldn't take their advice, something bad would happen. So I'm like, okay, I feel like the universe is trying to tell me your parents are pretty all right. So let's take it back to the yarn. Let's bring it on back. So you've been at this knit and crochet thing for a long time. I mean, you've seen a whole lot change in this industry, I'm sure. So what would you say has been something that you've seen change for the better, and what's something that you've seen change for the worst?
Access has definitely been for the better.
Okay.
When I learned how to knit and crochet, there was only one place in my neighborhood that I could actually get yarn from. So that's why when I was in Germany and I saw the yarn and I saw that there was a yarn store, it blew my mind. That is one of the things that I've noticed about the access. My biggest, I guess if you would say gripe, well, I have a few.
Okay.
One of them right now is the price of yarn and the things that people are saying about something that really can't speak for itself. This is
made out of nylon and polyester.
Nylon and polyester. If you told somebody, I'm going to make some yarn out of nylon and polyester, they probably would, I don't make yarn. I only use natural. Big pet peeve. Don't tell nobody what to do. They yarny crafts unless it's helping. Don't tell them, oh, it's better for you to just have 2 skeins of 100% wool dyed from Annie the sheep down the street that's been carded and plied by the person, blah, blah, blah. It's better for you to have 2 of those than to have 20 balls of yarn that you got from the dollar store. That's none of your business. Mind your business, lady. Nosy people get it too.
I think people sometimes get a bit self-righteous. In this space. And I can understand where that's coming from. You're trying to educate someone or encourage them to use higher quality things or whatever.
Other things that can be used. For educational purposes, yes. But like, don't get on a soapbox around it.
I think that's the part where you kind of start turning people off, and then it feels like you're drawing a line between people. You're judging them off what they use.
Well, if you can't afford this, then you shouldn't be doing it. That's none of your business.
If nobody asks you, hey, is there something wrong with my yarn? You shouldn't be commenting on what you think is wrong with their yarn. It's not your place.
No,
it's not your place.
And you have a choice to do what it is that you like. But you shouldn't tell people, oh, if you're not, then you can't, then you shouldn't. Because like, unless
you're not the knitting police.
No,
we don't got those.
Don't be the knitting and crocheting police.
We don't like that.
We don't like that. That's one of the things. Another thing is the companies. Is it money that you're trying to make? Or does it cost so much more to manufacture? or what is going on?
And the way that inflation has hit the yarn industry has gotten what feels to be out of hand. It doesn't feel like, okay, we're just going with where the market's going. That's really hard to believe. I feel like there are folks within these companies who in my opinion, probably not actually knitters and crocheters, a lot of them.
They just seeing
they see
that
the
it's
money.
Lucrative.
Yes, they see the money and they see how big of an industry this is, how passionate of a clientele exists here, and they're like, oh, we can cash in.
And that's what's really sad. And then there are other companies, I think, that are still doing good things, but they're being consumed by these larger companies.
They're getting overshadowed.
And then they're getting left behind. So not only do you buy the yarn, but then you don't even make it anymore.
Yeah, or it changes.
Or it changes for the worse.
Yes. Yeah. I do struggle, I think, with just the price of things. I mean, considering the business that I'm in, I'm often recommending products to people. I always have to be mindful of, does this seem like a fair value? You know, just because something's expensive doesn't mean it's a bad price, but what you get from it needs to equate to that price.
At least. Just a little bit. I'm not asking for much, but I'm just asking for you to be honest.
Yes. At the end of the day, you taking advantage of people. Because, I mean, I know, we gonna buy it, but
well, I might not buy it. I ain't
she's
gonna
not,
lie.
you know, she's not gonna buy it. I'm probably gonna buy it. I want to buy it, but everybody has that tipping point to be like, you know what? Things are getting out of hand. I'm gonna just use my stash, or I'm gonna start going on destash sites, or I'm gonna start pulling some stuff apart and using that yarn. And I wouldn't want that to happen because it's very discouraging for the process. I think acquiring new yarn, finding out about new yarns, that's a really exciting part of what we do.
Yeah, that's exhilarating.
Yes. One of the things that I've always admired about you is how you use and see color. I think people often look at me like, oh my gosh, I love the colors you use. Like, how do you, like, what's your color sense? Listen, y'all, I'm not gonna call myself a one-trick pony, but there's definitely a palette I love to live inside of. This one though, she will tell you she loves all the colors. So the question is, you know, what tips would you give someone who is maybe a little nervous to use color or finds themselves always gravitating towards the same colors?
3 things. First, find a thing you feel you look best in. Most of us, even though we say we're really afraid of color, we usually have something in our closet that's just has some sort of color in it, and when you put it on, you feel amazing in it. I mean, you just, this one color or this one thing, you know, I put on that saucy red dress, or I put on them red heels, or even your lipstick, your eyeshadow.
Start with what you have.
Start with what you have.
So look at your surroundings, look at your closet, look at your makeup bag, look at your backyard. And find the color, at least one to start, that really inspires you and like really, really lights you up. And kind of start there.
That whatever creates that spark for you. Wow, I've never seen you wear that yellow before. And that's absolutely amazing. I would like to try that color. What can I try it in? So maybe you don't make a whole sweater, but maybe you make a hat. Or you make some fingerless mitt, or you make a scarf. And then you're like, okay, I can live with that color. So next time I go to the store, I'm going to look for that in enough to make a scarf. And then I'm going to look for it. And even if you just start working with it and you gift it, that still opens you up to some more color and something different.
So experimenting. That's step 2. So step 1, get your inspiration, probably from somewhere around you. Step 2, experiment. Do something small.
Number 3 would be just try it out on yourself. Go to a thrift store and find your few colors that you're thinking about, but maybe you don't want to invest too much money in. I think that will help you be a little more adventurous with color.
I think that's a great recommendation. Kind of start with some finished pieces that are in colors that you're considering working with, and then go make the thing. The last thing you want to do is invest in a whole bunch of yarn that you don't know if you love, and then make something, because making the thing and then deciding on the color are like 2 different thought paths, right? So start with finding some colors that you love, and then practice it with a small sample, and then try it out with something finished. And then go make the thing. Go make the thing. The piece of this whole thing that really stood out to me is like, just don't be scared of color.
No.
It will not hurt you.
Yep.
Okay. I think there's a lot of feelings tied to color because color, if you think about it, it is tied to a lot of feelings. The color blue makes you feel a particular way. The color yellow makes you feel a particular way. The color red or the color orange.
You might have some memories about a color or something that happened.
And what I've heard a lot from folks who are nervous about color is like, well, such and such said I don't look great in this color. Or I tried this one time and I didn't like it.
Right.
Like,
it might have been the wrong hue.
It could be.
It might have been the wrong tone.
Yeah.
It might have been a bad fit. So now all of a sudden you're thinking,
now you're like, oh, I don't like green. Like I can't use it. Like me, I had an aversion to purple for a long time, and I'm going to tell you the story why. And this is not my mother's fault, but back when I was in elementary school, she bought me these purple skip shoes. We called them skips, but they're like little tennis shoes.
Yeah.
She bought me these purple shoes, and this jerk in my class called me Purple Passion all day because I was wearing these purple shoes. I don't appreciate the giggles, but I understand it because now thinking back, like that is just the most ridiculous thing. But I held that for a long time in life, and subconsciously I was like, oh my gosh, me and purple, we just do not mix. And I'm sure if we all think back far enough, it's something. We have a purple passion story about a certain color that you now developed an aversion to.
Don't wear that. That's not good for you.
But now that I have purposefully and intentionally opened myself up to using purple with some of my other favorite colors, I'm like, oh, there's tons of shades of purple. Purple looks great on everyone. You just have to find your purple.
Yes.
And it looks really good with a lot of the colors that I like.
Yes.
When it comes to color, be fearless.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
No color is bad. It's just maybe that particular anything might not be for you at that moment.
Right. Yeah. And I think all of our relationships with color evolve and change over time.
Yes.
And like let that naturally progress. You know, what was your favorite color when you were in high school might not be your favorite color right now. And that's totally fine. Serious question.
Serious.
Right? So we've talked about the project that you would make over and over again. What project will you never make? What is something that is completely off limits?
Now, no project for myself. I will always make everything over and over for me. I will say not a project, but who I will not make for is people that I don't feel that are craft worthy. Whether it's cooking, baking, sewing, flowers, blah, 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 whatever it is that I'm doing, if I don't feel that you're worthy or the project is not speaking to me, they want to $15,000 jumpsuit, but they bring you Super Safer.
Oh my gosh.
I've had people, I want you to make this Missoni jumpsuit for me, but I'm going to give you $50 for the yarn.
You gotta draw a line. You gotta draw the line.
I had to put my little hoof down. So not necessarily a project, more so than people, but also, I guess if I had one thing, I don't usually work in solids.
Sure, yeah.
It's hard for me to just use one color in a project. That's why I like a color change yarn. I usually like the yarn to do the work. Yeah. Whether it's the style of yarn or something like that. This is fun. This is quick. It's easy. I can, make this in a couple of hours.
I have noticed that about you. Like a lot of the yarns and things that you have in your stash either are the yarn itself is very colorful or there's some kind of like characteristic to it. Yeah,
it's like fun.
It's a novelty yarn or it's got a feel to it or it's got
or texture or something like. Because when mohair came back into vogue, I was like, oh. I literally was like, oh, I got the yarn downstairs.
Yeah. Mom had so much mohair. When mohair dropped on my radar, I was really averse to it because one, crocheters were not really encouraged to use
at all,
like what felt like luxury fibers. We were encouraged to use fuzzy weird stuff, but not nice fuzzy weird stuff.
No. And if it was mohair, it was kind of crunchy or it was mixed with other things. So it wasn't its individual beauty.
Right. Novelty yarn can be done well, and
Oh
it can
gosh,
be done
yes.
poorly. Like I would
Oh
consider
yes.
this ribbon a novelty
Oh,
yarn, but this
100%.
stuff is lovely. I
Oh,
remember when it was
so
out, and I was
soft.
like, this is really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every yarn has a place.
Mhm.
You find that perfect project for that yarn,
Yeah.
and that's where you run with it. Some yarns texturally, they don't like the way it feels.
Right.
And that's a different thing.
Yeah.
You not liking the way it feels doesn't mean that it's not good.
Right.
That's
It's just not
personal.
for you.
It's not for you. There are certain yarns that I just
can't do it.
homespun.
Oh.
Oh my God. I don't know.
I don't hate a lot of yarn, but homespun is just a challenge from start to finish.
Yeah.
Like it's got that really heavy plasticky feel.
Yeah.
And the crimp they put in it is just so hard to work with.
The way the feels under my hand there, and then some colors weren't horrible,
but most of them were.
But
most of them, like we can say it. This is a safe space. Most of them were.
I tried.
We did try. I designed a scarf out of it, just to say that I could. I think it's a pretty cute scarf, and I think homespun ended up working really well for me for Tunisian crochet, not traditional crochet.
Fun story. I went into Michael's one day, and I don't know what happened, but I was walking around, and this lady saw me with yarn in my basket, and she was like, "Oh, sis, go get yourself a cart and go over to the yarn section. The homespun is 19 cents.
Oh, they were giving it away.
I'm sure somebody made a mistake. Let me tell you what I did, honey. I had 2 shopping carts full of it.
Yeah.
I have been blessing people with that yarn, and
yeah,
they love it. And if you love it,
definitely go for it.
I spent 19 cents.
Yarn can definitely grow on you.
Yeah, just like anything else. Like I know somebody didn't like mushrooms and yogurt when they were growing up.
I didn't, and now I love both very much.
So we can change.
Our taste
can change. We can evolve.
Absolutely.
In our craft, in our lives, in our taste.
I think that's what keeps it fun. Yes. That's what keeps it exciting.
And you stay open.
Yes, 100%.
You stay open, because I didn't like mushrooms, so I didn't cook mushrooms. But now
we're down.
So
we're down for it.
give it to me.
So here's a really good one that came from our friends on YouTube. Knit and crochet is a huge part of both of our lives. And we know that it ends up touching a lot of things outside of just being a craft for us.
Definitely.
Considering your long relationship with this craft, what kind of life lessons do you feel like have come out of it for you?
It's taught me friendship. It's taught me how to give of myself. When I first learned how to knit and crochet, it was something that I could do alone and feel content to be alone for hours at a time. Being an only child, like to be, I will talk to y'all until I'm blue in the face. But you can best well believe I'm using up my words for the week.
Yeah.
I will look at my phone.
Put it right back down. Yep.
Not today.
Not today.
My favorite line is, "No, I can't today."
Yeah.
I love you, but I can't today. I don't have it in me to give. That's what my yarn is for. That's what my books are for. That's what my music is for. Those are the things that give me peace, that allow me to be able to give up myself, that I don't get overwhelmed.
Yes, absolutely. I always find it really funny when you see like a mug that's like, I knit so I don't kill people. It's like, yeah, it's a joke, but there is truth to that. There's a
100%.
There's a soothing ability to this, the repetition of it and the focus and
that you have
exercising
to put into
our skills.
Work
I'm right there with you. I think this yarning has taught me a lot about myself. I'm also somebody who really appreciates my alone time, and it's a way that I can still feel productive and active during my alone time. While I'm recharging, I can be doing this, and it almost feels like I recharge faster, as opposed to just vegging out on the couch or something.
Because when I can't make something while I'm supposed to be recuperating, like if I get home and I got to clean up, but I can listen to my music, but I'm still knotted
feel
up.
Like you're working.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm working, like I'm knotted up. And then all of a sudden, I can sit down with my yarn, and I get my coffee, and I light a candle, and I get some water. That's how I wind down.
Now that we both do this, I feel like we almost have a better understanding of each other. Because I've always felt like yarning together helps you unlock those other parts of your personality that it might be a little bit more difficult to share.
Yes.
So when you spend enough time around someone who also gets your hobby, gets this thing that lights you up so well, then you're like, okay, now I can tell them about how much I love anime or how much I love gardening or I'm about to go on this trip. Like it just facilitates that openness.
Yes. Because if you can accept this about me, maybe you can accept the fact that I like yogurt.
Yeah.
You don't like yogurt? Oh, girl, let me tell you, maybe you don't like your yogurt. But
I try you to try this one.
Because my yogurt tastes good. And even with our friends and family that don't craft as much as we do, they'll make fun like, you know, Gwen is sitting, she knitting.
Yeah. You brought your yarn with you? Yes, of course I did.
Or if I don't have my yarn.
Oh, sure.
Wait a minute, you okay?
Everything okay? Yeah.
The first thing people will ask me, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm trying to be here with you.
All right, my dear. Nice job with the questions. But now it's about to get, we're about to get into it. So we're going to wrap up our video today with just a few hot takes. I've written down a few that came out of questions that y'all asked and also some things that I'm just feeling really nosy about. So I'm going to throw out a topic.
I'm ready.
And I want your initial reaction. Okay?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First one. Ergonomic crochet hooks.
Overrated.
Overrated?
100%.
How so? Tell me more.
If you need to stop. I'm going to tell you why. Over the years I don't think because of crafting, I have developed arthritis. When I get tired, only thing that helps me, only thing that gives me any relief is to stop, stretch, take a break, get a little exercise. I probably need some water, whatever. So if I could give you any advice, if it hurts, stop. If you're too stressed out, put it down. And you may, you know, have arthritis or something like that, so it may help. But they've never helped me.
Sure. Ready for the next one?
Ready?
Neck lights. So a neck light.
Mama get hot. Mama get hot. I can't put those things on my neck.
Can't do it.
I love the idea of them. And boy, I can't tell you 100,000 times I needed that light.
Have you tried the ones that like go in your head?
Yes.
Yeah?
I have several of those.
I know Dad's got one. You ever stole it from him?
Oh, yeah. But I have my own. Actually.
Oh, you do?
Actually, he has them because I had them first.
The trendsetter.
Yeah. But what I have found is there's the oat light. I think that's how you pronounce it. Oat light. And they had a little clip-ons that you can like clip onto a desk. Well, I clip them onto my shirt. And I angle it down, especially if I'm working with a darker yarn.
Sure.
That's worked for me.
Nice.
But I only say that because, again, I can't have stuff around my neck because mama get hot.
All right, next one. Recycled yarns.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Because, again, all yarns have a purpose. What is that? Remix Light by Barocco?
Yes. It's got all them different fibers in there, all recycled fibers.
And this is the thing about me. I will knit that. I go up 2 to 3 needle sizes, and I will knit or crochet myself a t-shirt.
Mom has a way of taking questionable yarns. That's the word I'll use.
She made me snort.
I'm personally not a huge fan of remix.
She gave me a bag.
And I'll be the...
I appreciate it.
Right? I'll be the one who be like, ooh, they sent me this yarn. I tried it. Not for me. Give it to Mom. The next day it turns up. I'd be like, ooh, what yarn is that? She's like, it's the yarn that you gave me yesterday.
I did it on the knit machine. I made a t-shirt out of it because I can't have no hot clothes on me.
Yeah. Last one, then I'll let you off the hook. Okay? Craft retreats.
I love them.
Yeah.
You want to get all of me for more than 3 days? Invite me. Take care of me when I get there. And the last one we went on when they fed us.
Oh, man. Ooh. We went to a retreat with a yarn shop in Northern Ohio called Around the Table Yarns. Run by 2 of the most amazing people you'll ever meet. Like the yin to their yang. They are so perfectly matched to be able to run this store. And they do. Everyone who walks in there just absolutely falls in love with them. So to spoil their clientele even more, they set up a retreat at this gorgeous farm. And I mean, the food's delicious.
Farm to table, literally. The food was exquisite. exquisite.
Yes. The lodging was really nice. We were in these great little cabins.
Wonderful.
And they just had an entire program of things. So it's like if you wanted to be in the mix, you want to do all the things, I mean, fill up your schedule.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to have a more relaxing experience, you just wanted to chill, there was this massive cafeteria that you could just be in there, or they had this big, large wraparound porch. Where they had kind of this sitting area in front of windows. There were so many different places to just go and relax.
Beautiful. The grounds were beautiful. They drove you around the grounds. It was just amazing. So there's a few that are out there that I would love to try. Was it Squam?
Squam on the lake. I think you'd love Squam.
I've never been to Squam. I'm a outdoor, as much as I talk about being inside, I love being outside.
Yes, Mom loves nature.
Love
and
nature.
Nature loves Mom.
Love
Makes her
it.
skin all glowy.
Oh, I get all dewy, girl. I'm 10 years younger when I come back. Y'all better recognize. And then they're like, I want to do the knitting cruise.
Oh, yes, yes.
So, somebody out there, do this for us. Not only do we want a crochet knitting book mystery cruise.
Ooh, all of it.
All of it.
How long are we going to be on the cruise?
I think 5 days.
Yeah.
I need Winston. I need all the cowboys. Sean Connery-esque. I need all those to be my servers.
All of them?
With Idris.
With Idris. Don't forget Idris. Ooh. We have to have him too. Y'all know my picture.
Anyway, girl, but I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm married.
Well, on that note, we gonna let her cool off. Thank you for coming to answer all of our questions. I know, right? You're a mess. So now, of course, you know, because of course we're gonna have you back. But in the meantime, what is Momma Gwen working on? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to in your crafting journey?
I'm making things for crafts for the spring summer season. For my friend Sugar Baby Studios in Detroit, Michigan. Marcella, love you.
Love you, girl.
Love you. I'm making things for myself and for my family. And we are going to do a few crafty trips that are not work.
Yes.
I've been working on my stash.
Yeah.
I've been working on this is one of my stash projects. I have 4 happy place projects that I'm almost done with.
Really? Wow.
I have 4 happy place projects that I'm almost done with. I'll be wearing over the summer because it is cotton and wool. And I can wear a happy place in the summer. And just to relax until we get back to work again, which I'm looking forward to when we do. So if you need to invite us, it's time to get on the books. We would love to come and see you.
Yeah,
I want to see you.
TL Yarn Crafts will be back on the road next spring, and I'm opening up the books in August. So if you have a local yarn store that you'd like to see me and Momma Gwen at, make sure you let them know to start sending me emails in September.
Just want to let you know, if you're overseas and you're watching this and you want to see us, please.
We fly.
We'll travel.
We fly very well.
For yarn.
Yes.
And
always.
We are, as long as we don't have to sleep outside.
Yeah, no yurts, please. Yeah.
No hostels, please. I like a bed. But otherwise, we will travel for you and yarn.
Well, if you've made it this far, you are the real MVP. And thank you so much for chilling on my big orange couch with me and my Momma Gwen. I'm very excited to read you guys' comments. And I hope there are multiples because we hit a lot of things today.
Yes.
And I know y'all have opinions as well. So make sure you drop them down below. And if you enjoyed your time here today, please consider subscribing to my channel. We're on our way to 1 million. We're not quite there yet. And we need your help. If you watch more than one of my videos, if you really like my mom, if you're a fan of my dog, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. All those things will be back.
Yes.
Yes.
Like the video. Don't just watch it. Share the video.
Yeah.
Don't just keep it to yourself. And just know that what we say here, we really care about this craft, this space, and you.
So thanks for hanging out with us.
Yay!
I hope you have a fabulous day from here. Keep working on your projects. Let us know what you're working on.
And
stay hydrated, friends.
Hydrate.
Thanks so much for hanging with us.
Stay crafty, my friends.
We'll see you next time. Bye. We did it.
We did it.
We did it again.
One more. Oops, we did it again.